Hello, welcome to the show once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Niger Political and Social Talk as usual. Today, I want to face something you probably haven't heard of prior. I would like to title this topic "Food Paradise," okay, or living in a food paradise. You have this world that people have just created for themselves, okay. They have certain goals that they set for themselves, and they have to do anything and everything possible, whether moral or immoral, to make sure they meet that goal. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. So first of all, I would like to start it like this. If you live in Europe or you live in the US, you probably heard of certain people called the gypsies. Okay, they actually living in a place like Romania, ex-Yugoslavia, like a place like Albania or Kosovo, and what have you. And these people, according to history, they actually came from India, and they are nomad people. Okay, they never actually settled down in one place. And many centuries, ago, they arrived in Europe. And they actually settle mainly in a place, around Romania and there. Okay, so today you see them across Europe because now you have this European Union where they are not citizens, so they have the right, especially those who are living in Romania. They are Romanian citizens today, so they have the right to go anywhere in Europe. As a matter of fact, they are also in the US. In the US, they are more responsible, unlike what you have in Europe. And not all of them actually, because when you go to a place like Germany, where Hitler actually killed a lot of them, okay, but some of them returned immediately after the war. I have met a lot of them. I think they are still more responsible, unlike what you have, in a place like Spain, Italy, France. Those ones are just coming, sent from Romania by, city organization. We call it mafia organizations. Okay, they send out these kids, young girls to go out there across Europe and be begging money. Okay, and some of the young girls actually engage in prostitution. So it sounds familiar. So now, when you go to Italy, and you are going to see some Nigerians there begging money. Okay, they will go to shops, they will go to schools and pretend to be coming from war-torn countries, that they need money to help their people and so on and so forth, because they have set up goals for themselves. They want to travel because they want to build a house. They want to send this car that is no longer fit on European roads. They want to buy it and send it home, and for that they have achieved something. And when you look at the gypsies, okay, so first of all, what do you see most? What is common between the gypsies and the Nigerians? I want to draw you to something here. So if you look at the gypsies, especially those in Spain, Italy, and whatever. So, and you look at the Nigerians in Europe, say maybe UK is not among. Okay, I'm going to show you something right here. So you look at these gypsies, what activities are they engaging into? Like I said before, they send these people out, for prostitution, the young girls and the young boys for stealing and pickpocket. You enter train with them, they make sure that they follow you up and steal your purse or your smartphone and so on and so forth. But when you look at the Nigerians in Spain, okay, I think you can look at a video on YouTube where a lady was actually lamenting when she was in Spain. She finding that what is going on in Spain, the condition of black people, especially Nigerians, the conditions there are so appalling. How they have to go to dustbin, and even the Senegalese and the Ethiopian, the rest of them, Okay, Nigerians are the majorities there. They go to dustbins and begin to pick bottles, plastic for recycling. Okay, and look at the gypsies, exactly what they are doing. Look at their young girls into prostitutions. Okay, look at our Nigerian young girls in Spain, in Italy, in France, exactly the same. So now, why these people are doing this, this sort of things? So this is what I want to deal with today, because like I said before, I title this very message or this topic as living in a food paradise. Okay, people just say, go for themselves, that they begin to live in that world and they are not seeing anything outside that world. They are mesmerized, they are blinded, by whatever they think, it is important in that world that they have created for themselves. So that is why I actually compare the Nigerians who are doing exactly the same thing as the gypsies. Okay, and what is common with the gypsies? They are living among themselves, and you see them across Europe begging money. They don't look at your face. They don't care whether you are hating on them. I say, why are these people doing this? They don't care, because not only because they are sent, but there are some of them who are not sent, but they decided to come to do stuff like this. They will go back home. When you go to Romania, they have these houses there that they have built for themselves. Okay, and where they have those houses, just like in Nigeria, some of those houses has no electricity. Of course, there is electricity every day in Romania, but where these people are relegated to, you have poor sewage system, poor sanitations there. Those houses, you don't have good roads leading to those houses. Okay, you don't have security there. Okay, so that is exactly what you are seeing, where all these so-called Nigerians who, quote unquote, succeed in Europe because they send some used car from Europe home, or they are building 3-bedroom apartment, somewhere, in their mother's backyard. And despite all those things they have back at home, nobody value them. Nobody give them respect. Nobody even see them as people that belong to society, but miserable, poor, and wretched. Your only praises, your only admiration can only come from your people, gypsies, mentalities like you, especially those so-called Nigerian women, uneducated, women that you have across Europe. Especially I'm talking about Central Europe. Okay, when you go to Canada, you go to US, Nigerians are pretty much educated there, and that is why sometimes they spend 14 years, 25 years before they can even come home, because they are studying. But you come to a place like Central Europe, Italy, Spain, Germany, even in Russia now, everywhere you can see Nigerians now. Their little house back at home or their used car doesn't matter to anybody as long as they are living in that gypsy world, what I call food paradise. Just like the gypsies are stigmatized, and hated on because of the activities they are engaging into. So now, if the houses, whatever they have back at home, actually matter, why is it that people are not giving them respect they ought to have that respect they ought to have as human beings, as European citizens, if you will? Okay, I'm talking about the gypsies now. So why is it that they don't have that respect? Why everybody are looking down on them? Because they are living in a food paradise where they think that the way to make it, the only way to make it, is to come around, engage in prostitution, picking things from the garbages and go for recycling areas and begin to pick all the stuff to sell. So now, like I said before earlier, I think that sounds familiar to what is going on with some Nigerians in Europe. I was in Germany some years back, and there was this Nigerian guy that came from Nigeria. I don't know if he borrowed money. Okay, everywhere you see this guy with plastic bag, and he will go to a place where you have this open place where people are drinking beers or coffee, or eating ice cream or whatever. He'll be going around there between people, picking bottles, picking beer cans, like a slave. And some people will be like, why is this guy doing this? And some Nigerians will say, oh, it doesn't matter, as long as you can get money from it, no problem. And you can hear that word, right? So now tell me, how is this guy picking bottles, picking cans from the garbage cans, and try to go around where people are just enjoying their ice cream and with plastic bag like a lunatic? How do you think that this person is going to actually succeed with that money? Some few coins that he is going to receive by selling those bottles and cans, plastic bags and whatever. You just tell me, what do you think this guy can do with that money? Of course, nothing much. But he has brought himself down to that level. He has dehumanized himself and brings himself to that level of slavery where, black people has been freed many, many years back. We're talking about Nigerian citizens living in the food paradise. Maybe he's going to sell some bottles and whatever. After 2 or 3 years, he's going to have about 1,000 euro. And he's going to look for a car that is abandoned, or when I say abandoned, I mean those cars that are not fit. Those type of cars that are not fit on the European road anymore. The brakes is beyond repair. The steering is not working, and so on and so forth. He's going to buy that for about 600 euro and use the rest money to send it home. Now, he will not be going around and be telling people, I've just bought the car and I sent the car home. And the rest of the people around him will be looking at him as someone who has succeeded. That is a food paradise. This guy has been dehumanizing himself. He has brought himself low to that level where he's not even worthy to be called human being. And those people around, not Nigerians, even fellow blacks who are not doing the same will look at him as someone who is a lunatic. Why? Because this guy is blinded by that, that goals or what he thinks is important in that food paradise that he is living. He is shut up from the rest of the world, just like the gypsies. The gypsies has no respect. No matter what documentary or documentation you make about the gypsies, you go to Romania, you see some of those houses they built there, through prostitutions and whatever, whether they are sent and the money is going back to the bars or by themselves. But these people who come back to Europe, they have no respect. Every time you mention these people, gypsy, nobody care about them. And when any of them will be riding Mercedes Benz, good one, in the street, and that this guy is a gypsy, you will never have respect for him, because they don't deserve respect because of the way they brought themselves low, where the rest of the world citizens sees them as thieves, pocket pickers, and what have you, child prostitutions and what have you, right? So now you come to Italy, and someone was telling me black people have no respect in Italy and Spain. So why? It is exactly the same gypsy life that the Nigerians are living there. I don't care. Listen to me. I know that you are going to argue with me and say, oh, why it's good what they are doing. But you will never free from that slavery. When you go to France, take for instance, I was in Paris the other day. Black people who came from Africa, hustling, doing all that stuff like that. And those who are born there, the blacks who are born in Europe, in France, are not doing the same thing. Why? Because they've been born in that country. So they don't see it as something that they have to do, to go to the street and begin to pick bottles like mad people. No, don't even go there. I know you're going to say because they have money from the government, those who came from Africa have nothing. No, that is not the reason. The reason is that since they've been born there, they no longer have that mentality of slavery, of trying to set up some, gypsy goals for themselves. Goals that led to nowhere. Instead of the big dreams of becoming a doctor, a scientist, and what have you. Someone picking bottles like the guy I just mentioned before. Send this used car home. They sell it, they're able to buy a land for him. Whatever. Later, he started doing that thing, begging money in the street, whatever, like what they have in Italy. Go to schools and begging money. At the end of the month, you get 1,000 euro. All this humiliation, what I would call self-humiliation, that you have made yourself to be going through all these years. Now you send the money home, or you went home and built a house somewhere in the village, or a place where there's no road to it. If there's a road to that place, it's full of potholes, where sometimes they have to hire people to clear the road. Otherwise, after 1 year, everywhere is taken over by weeds and trees and whatever. But this is a guy that has been humiliating himself, living in a full paradise. Now he has achieved that. That is his whole achievement. For him, that is him becoming Big Gate, becoming the Dangote of Africa. But he has gone through a lot of self-humiliation, insults, and someone who is even lunatic, only for him to go and build a house in a place where there's no road. Probably it's not able to finish it before you know it. Trees and weeds have taken over the house. And he has respect here in US or anywhere where he's living among his people, like the gypsies. The Nigerians around there will be looking at him as someone who has made it. You see, that is a full paradise. I want to go back to the message that I did before. Let me touch it a little bit. Where, I talk about how those people who founded all the European countries we are seeing, great countries, and their identities of great civilizations, that they were not done by garbage and bottle pickers. That's not called hard working, which I want to do next time. I want to talk about what it means to be hard working. That you that is doing laboring work, bricklaying, or you work in the assembly line and whatever, you cleaning job, carrying bricks and whatever, that you are not doing harder job more than the people that designed that house. I'm going to do this next time. But I digress. Let's come back to what I'm dealing with here. Because somehow it connects to what I just said right now anyway. Those people in France, in Germany, where you have enormous number of great philosophers, psychologists, intellectuals, they have conceived the direction their country needed to go far back, talking about 18th centuries and 17th centuries. These people, some of them have no homes of their own, but they were mesmerized by how their countries, various countries, are going to be great. There were enormous competition between Germany and France in terms of number of philosophers. Of course, Germany have a lot of, intellectuals in terms of psychology. France dominate, philosophy, in area of philosophy. I don't know much about UK, but I know in UK you have some pocket of individuals there, like Charles Darwin, talking about evolution and what have you. They were called intelligent people, intellectuals. Of course, in physics you have a lot of English people there also, just the same way you have there in Germany. But when you look at the life of these people, They probably never had houses of their own, and some of them were never even married. They were rather mesmerized by ideology of causing a change for humanity, for their people in particular. They were not concerned about themselves. So what am I trying to tell you is that France, Germany, Netherlands, Britain, United States, Japan, all these Western countries before China and the rest of them begin to follow them up. These countries were not built by, what I call, individual interest. Where I need to go there to pick bottles and acting like a mad person, selling drugs and going to prostitution. That is not how all these countries were built. These countries were built by people. Probably, like I said before, they never built their own home. I read about, a great writer from New York. And this guy married before earlier. They have one son. Later, he divorced the woman. But, later in life, this guy began to write books. I'm not talking about low-key books. I'm not talking about books that are just too abstract, like the Nigerian movies. I'm talking about books, highly dramatized books, where you can say this book is number one or the best-selling book today in the United States. This guy have written a lot of them. But what am I pointing out to you here? This guy rented an apartment in New York and dedicated all his money to those who have nothing in third world countries. He never aspired to build a house, but he has empowered people. His works has empowered people all over the world. So that is why when you look around today, of course, you can see some CEOs. They have a lot of money. They have big houses, whatever. Because this nation has been built. Albert Einstein, when he was still living, is it Switzerland? I know, Switzerland is where he actually did his work. He went to Polytechnic there in Switzerland. Later he moved to Germany. People never talk about, his house, how big his house was. They talk about his works, his breakthrough in physics, the law of relativity, as you all know. That is the legacy that the guy left. But when you have people living in a full paradise, like the gypsies, their main focus is about themselves, and they don't care. They just don't care. They don't look at your face, but ready to do anything to meet that goals they set for themselves. Some of them die. When you go to Nigeria, take for instance, you see people, a man will be selling something in his shop. I've been there several times. He's not able to change his own shoes. The shoes he's wearing, the pair of shoes, see, then they are dead already. Building, one house there, another house there, 2-story building, 5-story buildings. But his shoes he's putting on, they are all worn out. It's not going to eat well. Going on holiday to refresh himself, it's not something that he can even imagine. Just forget it. Before he can even finish that or the second, project of trying to build, 4-story building, whatever, he just passed away. He's dead. They never last. That is a man living a full paradise. But you may ask me, I say, is it better than for us to just stay like that, not do anything? Of course not. The ultimate should be the education. Because through education, you can gain more. Through education, you can invent your products or develop your products, which in the long run will pay off big time. And of course, it's good for you to begin to engage in intellectual discussions. I was watching a video the other day, and there was this British man. He went to one, village in Morocco. He was interviewing some village men there, village women there, and look at the way these, nomad Moroccans, living outside, the cities there. Look at the way they they actually handled themselves. They were very proud. They were not like, what you normally see whenever you see this white man going to these villages in Africa, and you see these black people begin to act funny, they begin to break themselves down, before this white man as if they are really, really inferior. Try to be nice and try to be jovial and what have you. That is not just being nice. That is you not having your own confidence, not having your own pride. I've seen that many times. I just shake my head. They lost that dignity. But you see these Moroccans, they were very proud. They deal with the white people who came with cameras as if they are equal. They never start at funny, try to break themselves down low before this white man. No. What does that show you? The level of education. Even though they never went to schools, boy, their civilization has taught them who they are. That they don't have to be behaving like slaves in the presence of this white man, like you are seeing with the black people. These Moroccan villagers, look at the way they were not laughing. You ask them a question, they answer with pride. Why? Civilization. They came from a long way. They know who they are. They have what's called self-respect. That they don't have to see white men and begin to act funny and begin to they turn themselves into some slaves. Now, every time you watch documentary where, they go to sub-Saharan Africa, see people acting funny before camera, they break themselves down. So this is what I'm talking about. Education is very important. You don't need to go to university for this. You must be ready to learn. I have interact with a lot of Nigerians who, they claim to graduate from those Nigerian universities. I'm not perfect. I've never been to the university. I don't need it. But coming in contact with these so-called Nigerian, graduates, it makes me wonder what is actually going on. I mean, it's as if these people were raised in a range, cow range or something. No idea. No, I'm talking about brilliant opinion and whatever. What I'm doing here, some of the time, I try to provoke your thought. I like to do something that will make you to think. Because any man who cannot think is a dead man. He's a fool forever. You see, I'm going to do another show next time talking about how not to raise a fool. Everything I'm talking about here are all coming from me. These are all my thoughts. You wake up in the morning, the day you are not going anywhere or, going for work, just lie down on the bed right there. Begin to think. Because I want to say something here. If you are a man who just cannot stay at home 1 or 2 days to do something for yourself, you are a fool. One of those people that are living in that fool paradise. Because in that situation, I'm talking about that very time people might think that you are lowly. You're not really lowly. But that is the best time for a man to do some critical thinking about life. Don't let people set goals for you. You need to free yourself from that fool paradise. So that sometimes white people will see you, they will begin to say, are you not the black person? They will hate you for sure, but they are going to respect you. What I would call snitching respect. They respect you at the back. Because they wanted you to come around and begin to pick, bottles, cans around there. They will be laughing. They will be telling their children, see, that guy is a slave. That's what they wanted to do. But when you are self-educated, you have your own thoughts, they will hate you, but you have pride at the same time because they are going to have the snitching respect for you at the back. They will fear you. Malcolm X was one of the most feared person in United States of America during his time. He was a self-educated intellectual. When he was in prison, he was from a drug dealer, a pimp. But when he was incarcerated, according to the biography, he actually made sure he laid his hands on every books in the library. And dictionary was his best friend. That will help him to communicate. So he came out, he became, a different person, very brilliant, self-educated, intellectual. So that is what the white people don't want you to be, or every other race don't want you to be. But I'm not saying here that is why they killed him. I don't want to go there. But imagine you have people like Malcolm X in Nigeria, where I would say 50% of the population is like that. So what am I saying here is to tell you that education, until our institutions are developed to begin to teach people about value and self-respect, you go nowhere. You are going to have Nigerians living in that same food paradise like the gypsies, running around like some lunatics. And you see Nigerian women talking about these people, that guy have just sent a car home and whatever. They have certain respect for such people. But that is a food paradise. Because you are a slave, especially when you look at the way you brought yourself low to have that. And you go on, that thing never even can't. Because you don't have light to run that house. You don't have good roads that led to that house. You don't have security. You just might get killed. A lot of people travel home, they never come back. I'm not saying it's bad to go home. I've been there many times. But when you look at the big picture, for God's sake, you are going to see that what is important is in nation building, collective development. That when your people or you as a citizen will go out, you will have respect because you give yourself respect. That the whole world will look back at your country and identify you with what your country has achieved. But today, as a Nigerian, what exactly will the rest of the world look at and identify you with? Technology, intellectualism, development, great democracy? Of course, none of that. So that is where the problem lies. Like I was saying before, until you begin to get ready to learn, to understand who you are and who you're supposed to be, not just as an individual. Of course, individually, it's okay. You can be a doctor, you can be a scientist, but those things need to be harnessed in nation building. Otherwise, you are still going to be going around, your people will be going around like some gypsies picking bottles, because that is what they know. That is the word that they have defined for themselves, totally caught up from reality of that great education, of development. The thing that you just picking bottles, acting like a mad person, stealing, or credit card theft and whatever. That is what makes them quote unquote someone who has succeed. But that is a fool paradise. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. God bless you as you listen, and stay tuned because I'm going to be bringing to you some thought-provoking topics like this or discussion, and as we begin to do this together. And leave your comment. Don't just watch anything and you have nothing to say. That shows that you don't even have your opinion. So let's do this. Talk to you next time.
Wow,